Hello, everybody, and welcome to Forever Sports. And a very interesting article or some quotes coming out of the URC chairperson or chief Martin Nye about the impact the SA teams are having on the URC. And very, very interesting considering that SA Rugby will become full shareholders in the URC in June 2025 as long as they comply with certain sort of uh, tasks sort of and sort of structures and basic tick box exercise. So they've got to do certain things to be able to become full shareholders, but as long as they comply with everything, then they will become full shareholders in 2025. Now, this is very significant in terms of the way the revenue is currently split, and it's quite a complicated scenario. So currently, the ASA teams are not full shareholders of the URC. They are treated as such, in inverted commas, when it comes to sort of the meetings and stuff like that. They're not excluded from meetings and from decision making and stuff like that, but they are not full shareholders. And financially, is quite an interesting situation because SA Rugby are reportedly giving the unions each a share of the revenue that they are bringing in from the URC broadcast coverage, broadcast rights, basically, that they sell. Whereas the S teams are not currently getting money out of the URC money pot, so to speak. Now that's going to change next year. Now what's very interesting is that this week, the URC chief Martin and I has talked about the fact that half the revenue of the URC is coming out of South Africa. And these are some of the quotes he said. He said, in terms of the financial value, he said it's a game changer. He said it's millions. More than half our revenue comes from South Africa via television and sponsorship. They are also providing more value to EPCR via investing sponsorship of the Champions Cup. It is a huge part of the rugby economy for Europe. And that's very important in terms of recently a lot of people and fans have been talking about the fact that the SA team shouldn't be involved in sort of the European competitions, those EPCR competitions. Should they even be in the URC? And once again, we are seeing the value that South African teams bring, not just on the pitch, but off the pitch, in terms of the investment, in terms of the rugby economy. We've got a massive rugby economy, and we're bringing that rugby economy to these competitions. And at the moment, what was the reason he sort of asked about that? He was talking about the travel arrangements, and he said the class of travel for our teams is something we need to address. He said moving to business class travel for the South African trips. Big guys need space, and apparently they might even look at, for example, when it comes to the playoffs, a change in format to allow more time between the end of the season and the playoffs to start trying to sort of sort out these travel logistics, which has been a massive issue with the SA teams going to the URC and EPCR, having to travel up to Ireland, Italy, Wales, Scotland quite often, and not having the money and the budgets to be able to put the teams into business class and be able to fly in sort of appropriate manners to get the teams over there. Now, at this stage, so SA Rugby are kind of sort of divvying out sort of a certain amount of revenue they bring in to the teams. The theory is that once the SA become sort of full shareholders, alongside Ireland, Football Union, Scotland, Italy, and Wales, then basically the whole idea is that all the sort of the money from the sponsorship, the broadcast revenue, all kind of goes into one big pot and then gets distributed equally amongst the different teams in the URC. After CBC, who own the URC, also obviously take their cut and stuff like that. It's obviously a little bit more complicated in terms of exactly what the final numbers is, but that's kind of the concept. So given the fact that South Africa are bringing in more than half the revenue, it's going to be good once we start getting a much bigger share of that, hopefully getting a much bigger share of that with regards to how the shareholding agreement will look in a couple of years' time. So the main thing is that we've got to remain patient because this could very much pay off. This could be a very big investment that ASA Rugby also reportedly, putting in it was like 300 million rand a year to have the South African teams in the URC, in the EPCR competitions and the like. And we haven't seen that much return on investment just yet, but it was always supposed to be kind of like a 5-6 year plan. And this next year we should become full shareholders of the URC, and this has changed. The year after, we should become full shareholders of EPCR. So basically, by 2026, and that's where sort of the 6 year plan from sort of post COVID to 2026, we will become full shareholders of both competitions. And hopefully, after that, we'll have more say in terms of the format, the travel logistics, and how we can kind of make things work. the main thing is, for example, URC is very, very grateful to have the South African sides in, and I think everybody knows it. I think with the exception of some of the Welsh fans who, let's talk about the whole Anglo-Welsh league, but Scotland teams, I think, far as we've sort of seen, are very welcome to South African teams. The Ireland teams in particular have been very, very chuffed and very excited and very thankful to have the South African teams in the URC. So the main thing is the value that we're bringing, which is a lot, and hopefully we can continue bringing that value. But more importantly, what's the value we're getting out of these competitions? And I do think that there is a lot of value in terms of the experience from a traveling point of view, playing against some, in some of the most elite competitions, and hopefully once the financial, benefit really starts kicking in to the clubs, we'll be able to retain squads, get better players, and start becoming more competitive. So this was always supposed to be a very long-term sort of move. It was never going to be something where we were going to change immediately and get instant success. In fact, the Stormers almost kind of stuffed it up a little bit by winning it in the debut season, because that suddenly set the expectations. Whereas I think SA Rugby were looking more like being competitive in sort of the third, fourth, fifth seasons of the URC, but we were competitive off the bat, which is a good thing. But now, for example, we haven't quite kicked on because we put the standards up so high so quickly. But let me know what you think. Are you enjoying being part of the URC? What changes could be made, to make it a bit better and the likes of that. It's not going anywhere, so how do you improve it? Let me know down in the comments below. Smash a like on the video. Subscribe to the channel as well. Thank you very much for watching. My name is Steve. I'll chat to you soon.